Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and good day to each and every one of you. My name is Professor Madya Dr. Ahmad Fadli Arham, and I will be the last instructor for this final topic on our micro credential course, UMC 146, Strategic Development for Business Organization, Tools and Guidelines. And the topic that we are going to discuss today is quantitative strategic planning metrics, or in short, QSPM. But before we go into this topic, let us recap some of the things that we have learned from the previous topics. In the previous topic, we have discussed on the IE matrix, and the development of this IE matrix came from the IFE and EFE analysis that we have completed in topic number 2. So based from the IFE and EFE metrics values that we have produced based on our internal and external operating environment, so we take this value and we plot into the 9 quadrant cells of the IE matrix. And we found that for company XYZ, the company falls under the quadrant number 5, which is under the category of hold and maintain. So under the hold and maintain quadrants, the company is advised to pursue either 2 strategies. Number 1 is market penetration, and number 2, product development. So, which strategy is the best one for the company to pursue? That is the main question, because sometimes the organization cannot implement both of the strategies at the same time. They have to make a decision in terms of between the options of the strategies that they have developed. So which one that they need to pursue first? So QSPM will help them, will assist them, will guide them in making that particular decision. And that is what we are going to learn in this particular topic. So what is QSPM? QSPM is the final and the last stage of strategic formulation. It is a strategic management tool that is used to evaluate the strategic options available to an organization based on a set of internal and external factors. QSPM allows decision makers to analyze and compare the various strategic alternatives based on the attractiveness of the option and the organization's ability to execute them. So what does it mean is that looking and considering into our internal and external operating environments, we have to make a decision based on the strategic options that we have. Like I said earlier on, there is no way, and it is quite impossible for the organization to implement both of the strategies at the same time. So they need to prioritize, and QSPM would allow them to do that. So why QSPM? Number one, organizations have limited amount of resources. Due to this, they must prioritize on which strategy that they should pursue first according to their current internal and external environments. They are lacking in terms of the financial capital. They are lacking in terms of the talents. They are lacking in terms of the manpower. They are lacking in terms of the expertise. So that's why they need to know in terms of between the strategic options that they have, which one that they should implement first. And then it is a practical tool for organization because it provides a systematic and quantitative approach to evaluating strategic options. And finally, it allows decision maker to prioritize the most attractive strategic alternative and allocate resources accordingly. So there are 6 steps involved in QSPM. So the first one is listing of the key organization SWOT. And this one, we have completed this in the previous topic. So we are going to use the same variables that we have identified in our SWOT analysis and also in our IFE and also our EFE metrics. And we also have done this, assign weights to each key external and internal factors. And we are going to use the same weights that we have identified in IFE and also EFE metrics. The third step is strategy selection. Examine the strategic options in your IE matrix. In order to implement the decision, alternative strategies should be identified. You need to select 2 or 3 strategies that seems the most feasible for the organization to pursue. And then these excuse me, these strategies must be mutually exclusive if possible, meaning that it must be distinct from one another, and record these strategies in the top row of the Qspm. And then this is the most important part where you need to determine the attractiveness score for each of the variable in our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we have already identified. We are going to give them a score between 1 to 4. 1 as being not attractive, 2 as somewhat attractive, 3 as reasonably attractive, and 4 as highly attractive. If the respective key factor has no effect against that particular strategy, so we do not assign any attractiveness score to that strategies in that particular set. We are going to have a much clearer understanding when we perform this in our next video. And then you need to determine the total attractiveness score. We take the weight times with the attractiveness score that we have already assigned for each of the key factor in our Qspm. And finally, you need to sum them up as the total attractiveness score, or TAS. And we add each of the attractiveness score in each for each strategy in each of the column, and this will give you the final score or the sum of the total attractiveness score. And we will perform the Qspm based on the company XYZ in the next video. All right, I'll be waiting.